Well, Dana Brown said you got to get creative, and that's what they're doing. Brendan Rodgers has been announced to being signed. We'll talk about the details of this deal and what it can mean for the Astros. Let's go ahead and do an extra edition of Locked On Astros right now.
Jainel Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on X at Eric Talk Astros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can you find you at?
Well, they can find me right here at Locked On Astros after show. They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok at Stros411 with the Z on Instagram, on Facebook, and on X. And I'm back to the bullpen on Instagram, on YouTube, on iHeartRadio, where I'm always positive, always Stros. Kind of an interesting name, Eric. We need to talk about this guy and what the deal entails, as Ari Alexander from KPRC, friend of the show, was first at reporting.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Make us first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go ahead and check us out. So Brett and I were just winding up to go to bed. We're texting about what we're going to talk about tomorrow. And then I'm like, that the Astros just signed Brendan Rodgers. And he's like, really? And he's like, let's talk about it or talk about it tomorrow. So we decided to do a short one right now. And so this was 18 minutes ago. So around 10 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, Ari Alexander said that sources, infield, Brendan Rodgers, and the Astros have agreed to a one-year deal pending the physical. He went on 8 minutes later, or I guess 10 minutes later. The Rodgers deal is a minor league deal with the invite to spring training per the source. And Rodgers was the third overall pick in the 2015 MLB draft, going one spot behind Alex Bregman and two spots ahead of Kyle Tucker. So We're talking about a guy that was once highly regarded. When he came up through the Rocky system, there's a lot of people that are excited about him. I know he was one of those can't miss prospects, but at the same time, sometimes prospects don't prospect. But at the same time, this is a guy that's had a pretty good 6-year career. His OPS plus over his career averages out to a 90. He did have a negative 40 OPS year in 2020, but he only had played in 7 games that year. But last year he had a 94 OPS plus. His best season was a 102 OPS plus, where he batted 284 with 15 home runs, 51 RBIs. And then last year he batted 267 with a 721 OPS with 13 home runs and 54 RBIs.
Yeah, so this is a guy, a former first-round pick, number 3 overall, like you mentioned, after Alex Bregman. Kid comes out of Lake Mary High School in Florida. And like you said, he was one of these guys that they really thought would really take root. If you look at the Rockies and the guys that they've had on their team, Arenado, guys like that. Other infielders they've had, Tulowitzki. So they've had a plethora of infield prospects, and it's not that Colorado does a bad job developing players. It's just sometimes your guys don't work out. The Astros, in that draft got Bregman and Tucker, and it's not very often that you get 2 guys in top 5 from one team, and both of those guys end up hitting. So when you have a Brendan Rodgers, who has great potential. Right here, you got the 2022 Gold Glove winner at second base. The guy's got good tools. He is a major league veteran, and so bringing him in can't hurt the club. Now, what interests me on this is, or what questions this brings up to, in my mind, is if he makes it to the major league club, if he makes it out of spring training to the major league club, because he got a invite to spring training, he's on a minor league deal. are there things or are there options of them taking some of the guys that they do have, like Dubon, other guys, and maybe trading them at some point in the season if they have a Brendan Rodgers? I'm just saying, does he provide the kind of depth where if you do get in a situation where down the road you want to get a more solidified piece, you do that? Or is he the low risk, high reward kind of guy where if he works out, he works out?
I think what they're doing here is this is, like you said, a low risk, high reward type of player. He's a minor league option. If he doesn't break camp with a major league team, we don't know all the details of his deal, but there could be a thing where if he doesn't make a break camp with the big league team, he could possibly become a free agent. We don't know anything about the details of the deal. But I think what this is the fact that the Astros may be fully committed to seeing what's going on with Altuve in left field, and they really might want Dubon to stay as the utility guy. And so they're not ready to commit to Bryce Matthews or maybe even Shea Whitcomb at second base. So they're bringing in options, and that's what you need to have. If you're taking somebody like Jose Altuve away from second base, and even though his skills are diminishing a little bit at second base, he's still a kind of an icon at second base for the Houston Astros. So you're not going to just throw anybody at second base, because a lot of people are going to say, wait, you moved Altuve to the outfield for this guy, and
Right.
know what's going on. The plans were already in place for him to move to the outfield. Now, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But this is another option where they don't have to panic and make a trade maybe at the end of spring training, or maybe bring up Bryce Matthews before he's ready. But Brendan Rodgers is a guy that I think we've heard trade rumors about the Astros wanting to trade for him in the past. So this is not surprising. This is somebody that they've targeted. He's a good defender. He's got some power. I don't know if while I'm talking, you can pull up what his spray chart is, but I'm guessing that his bats could play well at at Dyken Park. We are reacting in real time, guys. You seen the show 24, where this is real time. This is real time. We just got this 28 minutes ago, so we're just responding just like you are, processing this just like you are. So, Brett, do you have anything?
So, all of his home runs are either to left field. He has a few left center, maybe one or two dead center, and those are all just right at 390 feet. So the Crawford boxes do bode well for him. It looks like he hits a lot of singles. His doubles, he can hit both sides of the park. He's only got one triple recorded from last year's spray chart. But the doubles, it looks like he can hit opposite field. He can also pull doubles down the line as well. So that's a good thing. Also with Bryce Matthews, you had mentioned him. We got to remember Bryce Matthews only played 12 games in AAA last year. I remember talking to Bryce at the TriStar show a few weeks ago, and like he had just gotten there, because I was asking him, hey, have you played in El Paso with Kenny leadoff? Okay, come on, Jay. But Bryce Matthews, I was asking him, had he played in El Paso? Because I heard it's a party out there. So we were just talking. And then the second question I asked him, and I said, oh, that's right, you didn't get up to AAA until late in the season. He said, yeah. He said, I only had like a dozen games. So he's going to take some time. Is Singleton a cut candidate? I think Singleton's a cut candidate. I don't know why you keep Singleton around, to be honest. You got all the options.
A bat off the bench is only
left-handed bat off the bench, but yeah. But I mean, we're kind of getting the train cart a little full here. We can't keep everybody, okay? Just because Singleton's a nice guy and he's a left-handed bat, I mean, someone's going to have their spot taken if Brendan Rodgers comes up, because it's a minor league deal. So I think the first guy to lose his job in this would be John Singleton. If I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, I don't think this has anything to do with the Astros not thinking Dubon is able to fill in at second base. We've
No.
already seen him fill in for Jose Altuve in the past. So I think this is a move to just kind of solidify, well, if this Altuve situation sticks, then we have Dubon and now Rodgers who can cover second base until Bryce Matthews is ready or
Yeah.
somebody else is ready to step up, whether that be Whitcomb or some other minor leaguer. Somebody at some point could be ready to take over. If Rodgers is a flop, then the Astros can pivot to somebody else or just give Dubon the full-time job. So this is just a situation where it's a good sign. It's a cheap sign. We don't know what the exact deal is. 30 minutes later, Brian McTaggart did confirm the report. So we don't know any of the details yet. We know that he still has to pass the physical, but we do know that Brendan Rodgers is in line to become a Houston Astro on a minor league deal. So this is the first big signing we've had since Christian Walker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would say this is big signing, but this is first signing we've had since Christian Walker.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, and things are going to continue to happen. Possibly they might bring in some other people. But we'll have to see. This is not a bad, it's not a bad signing. It doesn't hurt.
Band-Aid.
Yeah. I mean, you get him in here, you see what he can do. He may be able to hit really well in Minute Maid Park, and the Astros may find something where they can help him get his contact rate up or whatever. But all his home runs go to left field for the most part. So if this guy can hit 15 home runs in Coors Field, I think our left field porch is pretty comparable. We may not have the altitude, but we've got a shortened porch, and so welcome to Houston, Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, so tomorrow on the podcast, we'll go and go deeper into this. We'll see what the team has to say, if they're able to talk about it yet until it becomes official. So with this being a minor league deal, I don't think they'll be as secretive. But guys, thank you for tuning in for another Locked On Astros podcast. Go and make us first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Go and check us out.
In sports, having the winning strategy is everything. It's how the best teams make it to the Super Bowl, the World Series, and the Olympics. The same goes for life. Having a strategy like life insurance from SelectQuote can protect your financial legacy and keep your family's future secured. SelectQuote makes it easy to find the perfect life insurance policy. As one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, they've helped over 2 million customers find $700 billion in coverage since 1985. What sets SelectQuote apart is their personal touch. Unlike other brokers that offer a one-size-fits-all policy, their licensed agents tailor coverage to fit your unique needs. If you're in good health, you might even qualify for same-day coverage of up to $5 million. No medical exam required. And it's more affordable than you think. You can get up to $1 million in coverage for as little as $20 a month. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/lockedon. Go to selectquote.com/lockedon today to get started. That's selectquote.com/lockedon. SelectQuote. They shop, you save.
Maybe we can go to bed now, Brett. So unless the Astros are going to do something else, but otherwise it's time to go to bed, and we'll see you tomorrow. And go Stros.
Go Stros.
Maybe Alex Verdugo next. We'll see. Doubtful.
Tej is always negative, always Stros. See that?
No.
Tej is taking up Dave's spot.